the presidential election whose results were challenged. Repression continues. Human rights defenders are harassed. Journalists and lawyers are arbitrarily arrested. Freedom of expression in the media is flouted. And foreign television is regularly scrambled. Minorities, religious, ethnic, sexual, are still persecuted. 7 Baha'i leaders have just been sentenced to 20 years in prison for no other reason than their religion. Ibrahim Hamidi was sentenced to death just because he was homosexual. Executions, including of minors, are increasing. The rights of women are flouted, and Sakineh Mohammadi Ashtiani remains threatened with lapidation. We call on Iran to renounce violence, to hear calls for international clemency, and to respect international human rights principles that they have signed up to. Tehran should cooperate with the UN and honour the open invitation to the special procedures of this Council.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honour to speak on behalf of the European Union. Mr. President, the European Union would first of all like to reiterate its strong concern with respect to the human rights situation in Iran. The repression of political opponents has strengthened there since the presidential election that was contested in June 2009. The recent conviction to 10 years in prison of said Baha'i leaders without any other reason apart from their belonging to this religious group is further testimony to the persecutions of religious and ethnic minorities such as Sunnites, Baluchis or Kurds in this country. The European Union, which is in principle opposed to the death penalty, is following very closely the situation of persons condemned to death in Iran, including the situation of Sakineh Ashtiani Mohammadi and Ibrahim Hamidi. We would urge the Iranian authorities to respect international standards when it comes to the death penalty and the provisions of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, including for Madam Ashtiani and Mr. Hamidi. The European Union further condemns all forms of human rights violations based on sex or sexual orientation.
The United Kingdom supports the statement made by Belgium on behalf of the European Union. Our long-standing and grave concerns with the human rights situations in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and Iran remain.
We have been following the human rights situation in Iran with particular attention since the violent crackdown last year. Unfortunately, the situation remains extremely serious. Number of peaceful human rights activists have been imprisoned. Lawyers defending them have been persecuted and detained for simply exercising their profession. Some of them had to flee the country for the fear about their safety.
Thank you, President, and I align myself with the statement.